Only in Kentucky can a county be home to a world-class horse racing track known as the $1 Million Oval that completely vanished in less than 15 years, and also have an Amtrak station that serves a city in a completely different state. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm learning a little bit more about Kentucky, one county at a time, all 120 of them. And today, I'm learning about Greenup County. If you haven't already, I hope you check out the other counties that I've covered. They're all listed in the playlist on my profile. If I haven't covered your county yet, I'll get to it soon, I promise, eventually. I'm going in mostly alphabetical order. As always, if I do miss something, feel free to correct me in the comments so we can all learn together. Greenup County was officially established in 1803. It was organized from land that was once part of Mason County, which back then covered a huge chunk of eastern Kentucky. The county was named for Christopher Greenup. He was a veteran of the American Revolution and a brilliant lawyer who would eventually serve as the third governor of Kentucky from 1804 to 1808. He was one of the first two men ever elected to represent Kentucky in the U.S. Congress as well. The county seat is the city of Greenup. It was laid out right at the confluence of the Little Sandy and the Ohio rivers by a pioneer named Robert Johnson. For decades, it was actually called Greenupsburg, but the name was shortened to just Greenup in 1872, mostly because people were constantly confusing it with Greensburg in Greene County. If you want to understand the soul of Greenup County, you have to understand iron. This county sits in the heart of the Hanging Rock Iron region. In the 1800s, this was the industrial engine for the region. Greenup County was home to over a dozen massive iron furnaces. One of the most unique furnaces was the Laurel furnace, where the bottom half of the stack was actually carved directly out of the solid stone cliff. These furnaces, like the Buffalo furnace and the Kenton furnace, produced the iron that built the railroads and even supplied the Union Army during the Civil War. By 1824, the Shreve brothers built the steam furnace in Rutland. It was the first blast furnace in the entire region to use steam power instead of water power to drive the air blast. This was cutting-edge technology at the time, and it allowed them to produce 3 tons of iron every 24 hours. And to move all that iron and timber, they built the Eastern Kentucky Railway in 1867. It ran from the Ohio River at Greenup south into the coalfields, and while it never reached the Great Lakes as the owners had dreamed, it did define the economy of so many different towns in the area for decades. At its peak, it was the lifeblood of the county, hauling pig iron and coal until it was eventually abandoned in 1933. But before the bridges and railroads dominated, as always, the Ohio River was ruled by the ferries. In the 1890s, the rivalry between different ferry operators was very intense. George Wynn's ferry to Portsmouth, Ohio, was the Uber versus taxi war of its day. The ferry business was so lucrative that people fought tooth and nail for those licenses. But when the original U.S. Grant Bridge finally opened in 1927, it essentially murdered a century-old ferry industry overnight, changing the local economy forever. But perhaps the most glamorous and short-lived chapter of Greenup history happened in the 1920s. Before he helped develop Keeneland and Lexington, a man named Jack O'Keefe built a racetrack in a town then called Chinville. He called the track Raceland, but everyone else called it the $1 Million Oval. It was totally ornate. Red tapestry brick buildings, white fences covered in rambling roses, and sunken gardens in the infield itself. In 1924, a record crowd of 27,000 people completely packed the grandstand for the inaugural Raceland Derby. It featured 5 horses that had already run in the Kentucky Derby previously, including the legendary Black Gold. The town was so proud of the track that they officially changed their name from Chinville to Raceland. But the luxury couldn't last. Financial difficulties forced the track to close just 4 years later after it opened in 1928, and it was eventually torn down completely in 1937. Greenup County didn't just stop at iron, it revolutionized steel. In 1923, the world's very first continuous steel sheet rolling mill was put into operation near the Boyd County line. Conceived by John B. Titus and built by Armco, this process is considered one of the greatest inventions in human history because it allowed steel to be mass-produced in sheets rather than individual pieces. The county also has deep and sometimes dark connections to the Ohio River. In 1829, it was the site of the Greenup Slave Revolt, where 55 enslaved people who were being forcibly marched through the county broke free from their chains near Tygart's Creek and attacked their captors. And while some escaped, many were recaptured, and unfortunately 4 were eventually publicly hanged in Greenup. Crossing Tygart's Creek today, you'll find the Bennett's Mill Covered Bridge. Built in 1955, it is 195 feet long, making it the longest single-span covered bridge in Kentucky. During the Civil War, the county was in a state of constant paranoia about Morgan's raiders. So this bridge was so strategically important that locals manned 2 hidden cannons in the tree line next to it, ready to blast anyone who tried to burn their only link across the water. Now, you can't talk about Greenup County without talking about Jesse Stewart. Born in 1906 in a place called W Hollow, Stewart became the poet laureate of Kentucky and really was one of the most prolific writers in American history. His books portrayed the grit and beauty of Appalachian Kentucky to the rest of the world. He lived almost his entire life in W Hollow, and today the Jesse Stewart State Nature Preserve protects the woods that inspired his poetry. Additionally, the lodge at the Greenbow Lake State Resort Park is even named in his honor. The geography here is fascinating. While most of the county is rugged Appalachian foothills, there is a 1-mile wide belt of perfectly flat land sitting 100 feet above the Ohio River Valley. This was created by the ancient Tees River. Millions of years ago, the Tees was an even larger river than the Ohio River, and it carved a massive valley before being filled with glacial silt during the Ice Age. So this flat wood is exactly how the city, the Flat Woods, got its name. Because the land was so level, it became a massive site for tract housing in the 1950s, making Flatwoods the largest city in the county today. If you're traveling by rail, you'll run into one of the state's weirdest geographic quirks. The South Portsmouth South Shore Amtrak station is a major stop on the Cardinal Line, but for years it was essentially just a platform in the middle of a field. It serves the city of Portsmouth, Ohio, but as you can guess, it's not in Portsmouth, and it's not even in Ohio. You have to cross a massive bridge into a completely different state, Kentucky, just to catch the train to the town you're technically standing across from. I don't know, there's just something about North Kentucky land taking over Ohio-based transportation hubs. Bellefonte is another unique spot. Incorporated in 1951, it's an upscale residential suburb named after the Bellefonte furnace. The hand-cut limestone blocks from that 1826 furnace were actually reused to build the retaining walls you can see along Oxcart Road today. And then there's South Shore, the home of Graff Brothers Flooring, which is the largest manufacturer of rift and quartered oak in the world. They ship Kentucky timber across the globe. The county has produced some massive names in culture and sports. It's the home of country star Billy Ray Cyrus, and it's also the home of MLB pitcher Don Gullett, who won 4 World Series rings, and also Clinton Hawk Thomas, a star for the New York Black Yankees in the Negro Leagues. Today, Greenup County is home to about 35,000 people. It's a moist county, meaning alcohol sales are mostly restricted to the cities like Russell, Greenup, and Flatwoods. So, that's Greenup County. What did I get wrong this time?